This is a video response motovlog to the Bonnet Mom, and she had a video about uh, chickens, but she also kind of mentioned Andrew Yang and his idea of UBI. Now, he's not the only one that has brought up UBI, and UBI stands for, in this instance, Universal Basic Income. And the idea is probably more likely not Andrew Yang's own thoughts or own idea. It's been around for a while. I don't know the history of where it came from or who first thought of it or who first published the idea. But the idea is that everybody should get some form of income to sustain without a job. And other countries have tried it. Of course, I don't know if it's the Netherlands, but the Netherlands comes up a lot with a lot of social experiments. But Andrew Yang proposed something like, I don't know, like $1,000 a month or $1,000 a week or something like that. Some basic level of income for everybody, rich, poor, working, not working, to pay for basic subsistence. Essentially welfare for everybody, regardless on whether you need it or not. Now, there are some variations of it where it's essentially welfare, right? Everybody who's not working gets just enough to survive. And on paper, it sounds good, but the reality is it's the dumbest idea ever when you apply it to practical everyday life and you introduce or you include human nature into it. So the first thing that is stupid, and I'll use the word stupid, idiotic, moronic, all the bad premise words to apply to UBI. And the first one is, where is the money going to come from? Who's paying for this UBI? Money does not come out of thin air, even though the Federal Reserve prints the money whenever whoever's in charge says that, hey, just print the money till we can manipulate the economy. And the proponents of UBI says, oh, we'll just tax people. Or, we'll have some kind of government program that will pay for it. The answer never ever makes sense, or there never is an answer to how UBI is going to be paid for. So that's stupid reasons why it won't work, number one. Number two is human nature. What happens when, okay, so first, the reality is taxes will go up. That's just the fact of life. Who's going to pay for it? You and me. That's the real answer. Everybody's going to pay for it. So everybody's taxes are going to go up. So what's going to happen? Business owners are going to have to raise prices because their taxes, their personal taxes go up, and their business taxes will go up. Sales tax will go up. Everything will go up to pay for this UBI. So then they're going to have to raise prices to cover what it costs to get them above living expenses. So then, now, just as we're living today, February 2023, all the prices go up. You have massive inflation. You think eggs are expensive at $5 or $9 a dozen now? It's going to be like Germany in the 30s. You're going to need a wheelbarrow full of money eventually to pay for a loaf of bread. People were literally burning money to keep warm because coal or whatever source of warmth that they're using was more expensive than just burning the money. So that's stupid reason number 2 why UBI will not work. And it's kind of like it's kind of like the Second Amendment. Without the Second Amendment, all the other amendments don't mean anything. So with stupid reason number 1, the rest, the UBI falls apart flat on its face instantly. So I'll get into more hypotheticals now. Let's pretend that UBI is implemented. So all the prices, initially it might work a little bit, right? People start getting their checks, and prices haven't inflated yet. So what's going to happen is everybody knows, all the shop owners know, or business owners know what everybody's getting at a minimum, because they're getting it too. And so they're going to say, oh, well, inflation's going to hit. I better collect while I can, while the money's still good. So they're going to raise prices, as I said in stupid reason number 2. So they're going to raise prices, and especially with housing. Now, this is a personal experience of why UBI will not work. When I was in the military, stationed out in San Diego, they gave you a stipend for off-base living if you were married, or if you had kids, or you got approved for off-base living. And I think it was like something like $200, $250 a month, something like that. It wasn't much, but it took the edge off. Well, the management companies that manage these apartments, they knew what rank you were and how much you got per month for living expenses, because you have to actually claim that on your application. You have to claim what your income is. So you put your whole income, right? And then of course the sneaky ones will ask you, well, initially, how much is your military stipend to pay for housing? And you're an inexperienced first renter, so you'll say, okay, yeah, this is how much I get from the military for for housing allowance and food allowance and stuff. So what they do is, because of the demand, they'll bump what they normally would charge without the military there. They'll bump the rate up, right, to capture all that first. So I paid $210 for a one-bedroom apartment in Texas before I joined the military. The same size apartment, now cost of living in California was a little bit higher, but in California it was $420 for the same size apartment in California. And I only got $200 for off-base living. It would have been cheaper for me to stay on base, but I was married, so I had to live off base. Or apply for base housing, and base housing was minimal and not very good in the first place. My brother lived in base housing. He was like an E6, I think, and he got base housing, which was just enough. Let's put it this way: he had 3 kids, married, and himself, and it was just enough. So that's stupid reason number three. Um, Companies will know how much extra money you have and will charge you accordingly because they're getting charged for it too. So it's it's just temporary infusion. Let's put it that way. And well, it's not temporary if they make UBI right like a real thing, but it temporarily takes the edge off. But then inflation will catch up, and it will just nullify anything anybody gets. So it's just like, you know, now you're paying, say, $5,000 a year in taxes or whatever. I'm making that number up. So then you get um, whatever UBI is. So your taxes are gonna go up as much as UBI goes up. So you're back where you started, and maybe even worse, right? So what? And the only people who will benefit is one, the government, because they get to collect some of those extra taxes as administrative fees, and they'll fund some brother-in-law project, or they'll it'll end up in their pockets. So the government is the first beneficiary. Of course, they always will be the first beneficiary of this stupid idea. And the only second beneficiary I can think of are people who don't want to work. Yeah, you could say homeless people or people down on their luck. Well, there's already a program for those people. We already have welfare. We already have charities. We already have good people who go out and help others who are down their luck, families. Yes, there are people who fall through the cracks and who are homeless without any help, and they're surviving or don't survive very long. It happens now, and it's only going to get worse, I believe, with UBI, because you're going to have more entitled people saying, "Hey, why should I work?" They're going to get into that entitlement mentality. It's like, "Why should I work? I'm getting UBI. I should have enough to live on." That's what UBI stands for, right? Universal Basic Income. So so let's take a look at. I'll have to uh, break into this video with another video where I heard a story of, like I said, the Netherlands, or some. What's this guy doing? Or some country. All right, let me get my thoughts together again. So I'm going to break into this video with another video when I find the details of which country tried UBI, and basically it didn't work. So they had to first scale back. First, everybody got it, or they tried it out with like 10,000 people or some large number, right? And then they found out, well, that's not quite working, so we're going to scale back to only this group of people. And I never heard any more of it, but when I find out the details, I'll break into this video here.
Okay, I looked it up, and it wasn't Norway or wherever I said it was. It's Finland. Finland was the country that did a nationwide experiment on UBI, and of course, it didn't work. It flopped. The government decided to shut it down, and of course, the people who were proponents of UBI, they're like, "Oh, well, you didn't do the experiment long enough, or we didn't collect enough data," and even the people who were for it found out it was costing too much money, and it didn't give them the results they wanted. the results they wanted was that it would increase productivity, right? So if people weren't worried about paying their rent or having enough to pay for groceries and stuff, they would be more productive at work, right? Well, they one of the things that people, the select few who got the UBI, they were given these surveys. Well, how do you feel not that you have UBI? Of course, they felt good. If somebody just hands you money, you feel good too. And yes, I felt less stressful. Yes, I had less anxiety. But the results were, after 2 years of doing this, the unemployment rate didn't significantly go down. So people were not incentivized to go to work because they were getting free money. Um, and so I'll put a link into some of these stories, and of course the people who were or for UBI, their excuse is like, well, you didn't try it with enough people, you didn't try it with long enough. Well, the people who did get the money were happier and less stressful. Well, duh. So anyway, I'll put the links below if you want to read.
But yeah, that if anybody thinks that UBI is a good idea, I've got a video for you to watch, and it's called The Theory of Stupidity, or The Theory of Stupid People. And I'll put the link below to that video that I know does exist. And it says that stupid people do more harm to society than any other type of people. And stupid people exist in all walks of life, whether you're super educated, PhD, genius, to the obvious guy who can't think himself out of a wet paper bag. They are, and the problem is the biggest problems are the stupid people who are in areas of influence. Sound familiar? There are stupid people in government. There's stupid people in academia. There's stupid people um, driving around every day who work in banks, who are, and I'm not just picking on intellectuals. I've worked with stupid people in the military, and as Forrest Gump's mother says, "Stupid is as stupid does." So I've done stupid things. I'm not saying that I'm a I'm a non-stupid person. uh, I've done stupid things in my life, but I learn from them. And I think the problem with stupid people is they don't learn from their mistakes, or they don't even realize they're making mistakes, and they don't have self-awareness to understand that what they're doing is either inappropriate or causing harm to themselves and to others. That guy's got loud pipes. I don't think he's saving anybody's life with those loud pipes. Good Lord, that guy's loud. So, check out that video, and I'm sure everybody who watches it can identify people that they know that fall into the uh, hurt themselves and hurt others category. All right, I'll leave that there, and I'll catch you on the next video. Thanks. Later.